Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Uh, Great testimony. Thank you. Thank you all. Dr. Griffin, you testified that the most logical step beyond the ISS is an international partnership led by the United States to return to the moon, this time to stay. How does returning to the moon and maintaining a permanent presence there help us eventually send American astronauts to the surface of Mars?
Well, thank you, Dr. Babin. I love that question. I believe that if God had wanted us to go to Mars, he would have given us a moon to practice on. Colonel Collins made the remark earlier that, I'm not trying to quote her, but to the general effect that learning how to live in space and on another planetary surface would transfer directly to learning how to go to Mars, and I believe that to be the case. And I'll summarize by saying, as an engineer, if you wanted me to say when we're ready to go to Mars, if you will, like the head of naval submarines certifying a submarine for sea trials, then I'll say you're ready to go to Mars when you can put a crew on the International Space Station for 6 months, and they have to live there without any further help from the ground. Then they get ferried to the moon, and they live on the surface of the moon in 1/6 gravity for 13 months. And then you bring them back, and you let them live on the space station again for 6 more months in 0G. And during all this time, they get no additional help beyond that which was pre-planted on the surface of the moon or on the station. So that ends up being a total of about a 26-month cycle for that crew. When we can do that, and the crew is still alive and healthy, then we're ready to go to Mars, and not before.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Colonel Collins, you testified that program cancellation decisions made by bureaucracies behind closed doors and without input by the people are divisive, damaging, cowardly, and many times more expensive in the long run. I could not agree more. What do you recommend that we do as a nation to prevent these types of cancellation decisions and ensure consistency of purpose over many years and over many political administrations?
We as a country need to discuss these very, very important missions out in the open. They have got to be discussed. I don't believe this was discussed. In fact, I'm sure it wasn't, because I was very shocked and very surprised when I learned that the budget was rolled out that first week in February of 2010, and there was a big Fed zero in the Constellation program. I asked one of the top managers at NASA, in fact, I was up here on the NASA Advisory Council, did you know this was coming? And he said, well, we thought we might have lost Ares 1. We had no idea that we were going to lose the whole thing. I was just amazed that, does our government work this way? This can't possibly be true. So to answer your question, what do we have got to ensure that discussion takes place in the open, and this is the way good businesses need to be run. You've got to talk to the people that work all throughout the organization, people outside of the organization, from academia, from industry. It is most certain that everyone will disagree on how we do it, but that's healthy. And then we make a decision you can vote or we can be autocratic about it, but it cannot be a surprise. So however you do that. And I'd like to add one other thing to your previous question about going to Mars. It is very, very, very important that the life support systems work. And the space station, I know I'm saying the obvious here, but what we're doing on the space station is essential. But the moon and Mars are different places. You've got dust, you do have some gravity, you've got, it's just a different place. You have got to test your closed-loop life support systems, whether it's in a habitat, a spacecraft, or in a spacesuit. A spacesuit is like a mini spacecraft. Right. So I just wanted to add that comment to the previous question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very much, witnesses. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Babin. And the